Day number 33. Arm day. So, arms, definitely an impressive muscle group to build. Who doesn't want a big ass set of arms? And a little bit of an important factor in that whole look as well, it's going to be your forearms, right? If you've got forearms that don't match your upper arm, like, you know, sure, you might look good in the gym when you're pumped, you're doing your curls, everything else, but when you're just walking around, I mean, you know, your forearms are going to be what's poking out of your t-shirt for the most part. So I used to do a lot of forearm training. I've kind of chilled out on it for now, just because I feel like they're at a reasonably good point in comparison to my arms themselves. But at the end of this arm day, I'll throw in a little bit of forearms just to kind of show off, you know, what I would recommend doing for them. All right. So same as normal, I'm gonna hit triceps first, and then I always like to start with warming up some single arm shit. Just kind of get the arm moving around. I don't really feel the need to do like a warm up set, like for each specific exercise, right? Like pretty much, I'm just warming up like whatever area you're gonna be using, right? So for arms, it's gonna be, you know, triceps. I'll do a little bit of forearm work. But then once you're ready, I mean, just load up as much weight as you can handle. If you do 3 sets where you just gradually increase the weight each rep, you know, I wouldn't call that a waste of time, but it's definitely not the most effective use of your time, because those 3 sets simply weren't as intense as the heaviest set, right? So you may as well just get yourself exposed to the weight as quickly as you can, and then start all your working sets with as much as you can handle. So forearms, I mean, you don't have to warm them up. I just kind of enjoy it. So I'll just put like a normal handle on, do a few curls with each arm. Same with warming up calves before doing hamstring curls. I mean, you know, it's just a muscle that's closely related to what you're working. So if it's warm, you'll probably feel a bit more comfortable when you get up to heavier weight. So again, like, this stack is a little bit too light for me. So to go really heavy, I'll just do some single arm. Thinking pretty heavy. We're getting close to the whole stack. Maybe in a few weeks. So for me, I feel like my my right tricep is actually like a little weaker than the left one. So whenever I do these single arm movements, I'll start with the weaker body part, right? So if I only get 15 on the right arm, then I'll stop at 15 on the left, so that it doesn't, like, the idea is it wouldn't progress further, and that'll let the weaker arm catch up. All right, I think I'll do one more of these and move on to something else. Not skull crushers though. I'm starting to think those are just too hard on the elbows. And sure, you can load up a lot of weight on them, but I don't know, I just don't really feel awesome contraction. I almost think it's more so just a movement to move weight for the sake of moving weight. And if the stack is too light for you, how are you going to solve that problem, right? Add some more weight. So ideally I'd have a fancy one of these, but if you just get a little gym pin, you should be able to throw a plate on, no problem. And then boom, extra 45. So that should be close to a decent weight. Honestly, I tried to go grab a 100-pound plate, but I'd have to carry it all the way across the gym, and that's just too much of a hassle. I wish there's like a little dolly in here. That'd be perfect. All right, so problem solved. Just leave a little more space for the pin and throw another plate on. So I know I was just hating on doing a set and then upping the weight, but I never tried throwing 2 plates on before. This is a very special occasion. But now I know, just start with 2 plates. No, just the one. Oh. Oh. When you're doing like squats or something, you know, it's easy enough to know when you've, reached failure. Like, with about, I don't know, at least 70% certainty whether or not you're going to be able to get one more rep. But when you're doing more, like, still go heavy, but when you're doing volume work, right? Those sort of sets, failure is a little bit harder to judge because it's more of a sensation, right? Like, let's say you're curling the 30s or something. You can probably get to 20 reps and it's going to burn, but you'll be able to do more. So one thing that I would, this is a little bit more of a pro tip, try not to imagine a number in your head while you're doing a set. Like with this weight, I know I can get around 20, maybe a little more, but when I'm doing these reps, if every rep, you're like, all right, 20. All right, once I get to 20, if you keep thinking the number 20, once you get there, you're just gonna stop, right? You'll feel like you achieved your goal for that particular set, but you probably had a few more in you. So try not to get too focused on like numbers, just so you can make sure you get a few extra reps at the end of your set and actually reach failure. Seven sets in for triceps. Now I'm thinking come back to the single arm stuff, but since I've already done some heavy sets, I'll go a little bit lighter now and really just try and squeeze it. I love the dog in the background. All right, this one will start off a little heavier, but if you ever want to do single arm work for the triceps, I definitely prefer going overhand rather than underhand like this, because when you do it like this, you're not going to be as strong, right? That's more of a, go really light and just squeeze the fuck out of it kind of movement. But if you go overhand, you can actually put some pretty good work in. At number 10, I think I'll just do a normal rope drop set. So first half heavy, kind of just throwing the weight around. But then drop set, go way lighter. Use the rope more in a squeezing motion, right? Because that's what the rope is best for, right? Going real light and then doing the action of pulling the rope apart, like right here. That's what's going to give you a really good contraction compared to doing like a straight bar. So that's the logic to it. All right, that's a little too light. There we go. Last set of triceps. Thinking pre-exhaust with alternating single arm. So that's going to be, 5 reps with one arm, 5 reps with the other, back and forth a few times. And then jump to the straight bar, just do some normal push downs. And that'll be it. Like, triceps are already pumped to hell. All right. The triceps have been methodically and effectively destroyed. Like, a good sign of a good pump is when you can't touch your shoulder, and just from the tricep pump, no contacts, god damn it. All right, so let's move on to some fucking biceps. All right, so I already threw the 10s around a little bit, did a few sets of the 50s, so I can already feel a goddamn contact pump, like just from triceps being blown up. Like, my eyes are already kind of feeling some of that inflammation. But we threw the 70s round last arm day, so coming at the 75 to the vengeance. Hopefully we can get a pretty reasonable set. All right, that last rep was particularly questionable, but I could tell I was getting the number 10 stuck in my head, and I wanted to push past that, right? Because the worst thing you can do is waste a set, Those last probably 10 or 15% of the set, that's where you're really getting pushed to the test. Since I only got 9 with the 70s, yeah, probably drop the weight. Hit 65s on this one. All right, 3 sets of dumbbell. Already changing it up a ton from the last arm day, where I basically did only dumbbell curls for biceps. So now you can do some single arm preachers. I think I'll do a drop set, but for me on this machine, if I just grab the handle itself, like as the machine was intended, I kind of get a little stiffness in my forearms. Like, I just don't really love it. So what I'll end up doing is I'll take a cable, like a cable attachment like this, and sort of throw it around the handle itself. And something about this, since it can kind of move around, I feel like it accommodates better to, my natural movement path. So, it's good to make things work for you specifically. So if this machine kind of fucks with you, maybe try throwing the cable on. But I think I'll do a normal set, then drop the weight by about half, drop set. Probably do, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 of these. We'll find out. Ooh. Oy. Ooh. Ah. All right. This time I'll hold on to the bar, but just because I'm going light. When the weight's light, it doesn't bother me so much. Other than with the dumbbell curls, I definitely like doing single arm movements for biceps. Like dumbbell curls, obviously, I like doing both at once. But for the most part, anything with cables, usually I like doing one arm, or if there's 2 individual cables next to each other, I'll do both at once. But for me, I don't really like having my hands like constrained, right? Like when I do an easy bar curl, or if I'm holding like a straight bar doing standing barbell curls, it kind of bothers my forearms a little bit. So having that sort of free motion for each arm individually during the reps, that's what I like the most. Plus, I mean, you'll be able to use twice as much focus on each bicep, right? So instead of just doing both at once, you can really focus on squeezing the one. So that's my logic with that, at least. You'll hear a lot of mumbo jumbo about, oh, your biceps are a small muscle group, so you only have to hit them. You can hit them with half as many reps as you would for your chest, because your chest is a big muscle. Or people will say like, well, your biceps are a small muscle group, so they'll recover faster, and then you can train them more frequently, right? Like you can sort of imagine both of those arguments being correct. Like in terms of the scientific community, a lot of shit about working out is still, in development. They don't necessarily know exactly what's going on when it comes to like muscle growth or everything else. So in terms of your split, I say just keep it simple. Hit every muscle group with the same-ish amount of volume and try to go as intensely as you can, right? I said I don't like the easy bar curls, and I don't know, I like them, but what'll happen is right at the end of the set, once I put the weight down and I take all the tension off, this bone right here, the one on the inside, I guess it's the ulna or something, it almost feels like I've got shin splints. So if you've got a particular explanation, I'd love to hear it. But it doesn't bother me on anything else, so I think it's more of a, just a very specific strain I put on them. But it's still a pretty damn good lift, so I'm gonna do it anyway. God damn it, heavy. All right. Huh. All right, wasn't that bad. I haven't done it for a while, so I guess it's kind of healed up a little. So 3 more sets. I'm thinking for at least 2, I'll just go back to basics. Get some dumbbell curls in. Last to the biceps. I'm thinking I'll do a drop set of alternating curls, right? So what that's going to entail is starting at a heavy weight, 5 reps one arm, drop it, 5 reps the other arm, drop it. Maybe do that maybe 3 or 4 times, probably 3 with this weight. Then drop the weight by about half and do the same thing just until you feel like you've got a really good burn. Because when you go light, I mean, it's hard to reach, or in some cases it might even be impossible to reach muscular failure. Like you'll still just be able to do like some extra little things. So in this instance, it's more about reaching a feeling, or yeah, I just finished a good ass set. Fuck. Oh. All right, yeah, that is fucked up. Let's go see the results. Bring down the exposure. Standard procedure. All right, let's see what's going on here. So, pretty basic, nothing crazy special. Just a lot of different kinds of push downs and a few different kinds of curls. But that's all you really need. The more complicated your workout ends up being does not correlate with the amount of productivity that you accomplished, right? Later. I'd rather just do a pretty hard workout of standard push downs and dumbbell curls than try to do a bunch of specialty sort of fancy looking movements, doing cables across the body or like special kind of weird twisting curls or whatever kind of other stuff people are doing. It's just not going to do anything more than going hard with the basics, as hopefully you should be able to see with Exhibit A. All right, yeah, that's pretty freaky. Whew. Whew. Oh my goodness. Not really much else to talk about then. Let's go do some of those little forearm movements. I'm not going to do a full-on forearm workout because they're already, I think, in correlation with the upper arm. They're good. Because if you get really big forearms and relatively to your upper arm, it's not necessarily going to make you look any bigger. When it comes to forearms, everybody's going to think about grip strength or like doing a forearm curl, like the action of this downward. But you've got all this other stuff floating around in the back as well. Equally important. So usually if I were to do a legit forearm workout, first thing I would do is just sit down, because you're going to be here for a while. Grab depends on how strong you are, but nothing heavy. 10 pounds, 15-pound dumbbell. And then you can do thumbless. I don't see the point. You may as well just grab it right in the middle like you would normally. Put it on top of your knee like this and just sit here and get a pump. It's kind of hard to describe how it feels, but it's definitely not about weight, at least with this part of your forearm training. Really, you'll just sit here, maybe 20 reps light, should start to burn. Put the dumbbell down, do it on your other arm. You know, you're just gonna end up sitting here for like 20 minutes. It's definitely not the most intense aspect of your training, but it definitely gives your forearms a better look. This back part, which controls the opening of your fingers and like the, I don't know if it'd be flexion or retraction. Probably retraction of your hand. Definitely adds some beef. Like if you go back and look at some of the sets of the dumbbell curls, when I get to the top, right, you see these sort of shadows. That's from having developed this back part of your forearm. So, you know, that's just from at the end of arms, sitting here for 20 minutes just doing this. Run with the other hand, back and forth. No need to go heavy here, because you can definitely kind of bother your wrist. It's really just about getting a pump, because, I mean, you don't really work these muscles particularly hard anytime, even during your regular life. So they probably don't need much stimulus to grow. So in terms of the bottom part of the forearm, the part that you're going to be working just from gripping onto something, honestly, I just like doing some single arm sort of forearm curls with the cable. Like you could do like grab a barbell and just sit here like this, curling it, which it works fine. But in terms of the feeling and like the pump I can get, I like doing this more. So same as those reverse curls, you know, you just sit here, load up a considerable amount of weight. I would want to go heavier on these. And then just one arm at a time, you just do this action. Probably, you can go heavy enough where you'd go closer to 10 reps or so. But yeah, you just sit here again, do another 10 sets or whatever after you finish your arm workout. Or I guess you could do it whenever in your split, but I'd say right after arms would be a reasonable placement. And then, you know, just get excited because you're going to be here for a while. And then just keep doing that. That's pretty much the basics of what I would be doing, or what you should be doing if you want to get bigger forearms. Arms have been pumped. Calves as well, but I mean, I do calves every time. So I guess I can explain that a little bit. What am I doing when I say do your, you know, hit your calves at the end of every workout? You know, so people, I've heard kind of older style guys say that you work your calf differently depending on whether you do standing calf raises with your legs straight or seated calf raises with your legs bent. There might be some validity there. I'm not really completely certain. Probably a good idea to, you know, throw either one around, but I wouldn't stress it too much. I wouldn't worry too much about anything like that. So, you know, for me, what I've been doing consistently has been about 10 sets of about 20 or 30 reps with a pretty good weight, enough where it's, you know, I can tell it's starting to burn towards the end. And then I'll just go back and forth on either leg, and then that's the end of it. That's it. So in my mind, I kind of appeal to the idea that you walk around on your calves every day. They're used to being worked, thus hitting them every day isn't going to be out of the ordinary for them, which, would explain why I can wake up the next day after having done 10 sets of calves and not really be sore. So, if you want to just add calves into your split and just absolutely destroy the fuck out of them, do a ton of sets, ton of weight, drop sets, everything crazy, go for it. Honestly, apart from just experience, that might just be as effective as what I'm doing. But I think a pretty simple method of adding them in, and at least what I've done to get my calves to where they are, is just hit them at the end of every lift. I'm not trying to say that I'm necessarily a fat phobic guy, but I can definitely tell my quality of life, and just from looking around, the quality of life of other people who are in shape, there's definitely an argument to be made that it's better. So, fucking go watch Rocky and get inspired. Right? The more people that are in shape out there, the better. That's what I say. You don't even have to take it to this crazy level of gym every day, bodybuilding. But just having a good baseline, being reasonably healthy, not eating too much garbage and actually hitting all your macronutrients, whatever, shit like that. It's gonna feel good. Of course, right after I say this whole pro fitness speech, I'm going to get some fucking McDonald's. I'll see you after I order. God damn it.